Hi guys, this is the Audiofool, and for today we're going to review the Hegel H190 Integrated Amplifier. I got this on loan from a friend who recently got a KEF Reference 1. It was driven by his Rig LXR amp and Cambridge Audio CXN streamer. But the sound was slightly lacking, particularly with the bass, and I felt it wasn't really driving the hefty Reference 1 properly, so off we go hunting for a new amp. We noticed that KEF usually chooses Hegel in its product launches, so there must be some pretty good synergy between the two, and soon enough, we borrowed an H90 and an H190. And as you can see, the H190 didn't make it back. The H90 was a step up in terms of lower distortion and bass control from the LXR, and the H190 is even a bigger step up from the H90. So now I'm going to put up the $4,000 amp to the Schiit Ragnarok Yggdrasil combo, which costs roughly $100 more. But before that, let's take a quick look at the amp. On the front, we have knobs for the source and volume, as well as an LED in the center. It's very Spartan looking despite costing $4,000, and it isn't really something you want to show off, or rather, it isn't something you can show off. Then we have the Hegel logo, which reminds me of a luxury luggage brand from Germany. 6.5mm headphone jack. The power button is underneath, by the way. It does 150 watts at 8 ohms and 250 watts at 4 ohms. And Hegel claims it can power 2 ohms. So that basically means it could pretty much drive anything to the max potential. You have 3 analog inputs, 4 digital, 1 USB, and 1 Ethernet. So it's prepared for the digital future, but no Wi-Fi. And you have 2 variable and fixed outputs. Okay, so let's go on with the review. Initially, I was just really planning on using the LS50s for the comparison, but after going through my test tracks multiple times, it was really hard to find major differences. If I really had to nitpick, I would probably choose the Schiit combo. In my ears, it sounded a little bit slightly more refined, slightly more delicate. It had a more relaxed space, and the spatial depth was slightly just a bit deeper. But that's really nitpicking, and it's possible that I'm probably just biased with my own shit. In other words, both the Hegel and the Schiit are driving the LS50s to the limits, and the LS50 can't really do any better. So I decided to test it out with another set of speakers, the Tekton Impact monitors. This time with the Tekton Impact monitors, the differences are easier to notice, but still not a slap in the face difference. For trials of the pass by subtract, the bass is sort of wilder in the Ragnarok, and the Hegel pretty much has everything under control. So bass control, damping factor of 4,000. Although the decay of the echoes are a bit more organic in the Schiit. For I've Got You Under My Skin by Frank Sinatra in a duet with Bono, the Schiit had a slightly more relaxed pace, and the horns seemed fuller, and Bono's voice seemed to be a tad bit more airier. For Norah Jones' Don't Know Why, again, the Schiit has a more relaxed pace, but there's slightly more details to the vocals of Norah Jones, and you can hear this also with the instruments playing in the background. For Alicia Keys' If I Was Your Woman from the MTV Unplugged album, it was slightly easier to notice the ongoings in the background, the Schiit combo, and the rendition of the piano was much better as well, but both are very engaging and fun to listen to. For Pints of Rome by Respighi, the Schiit combo had a slightly more relaxed pace, and it had crisper, fuller formed instruments and had a slightly wider, taller, and deeper soundstage. So in the end, I did prefer the Schiit combo, but keep in mind though that the Ragnarok only has 60 watts and the Hegel has 150 watts, so that's a huge difference. In my room, I don't really need that much power, but in a larger room, you'd run out of shit pretty quickly. Also, you still need to buy the streamer and cables with the Schiit combo, so you need a lot of space. Next, we're just going to compare the amp section. So we're going to use the Schiit Yggdrasil as the DAC for both the Hegel and the Schiit Ragnarok. And let me just go straight to the point and say that the Hegel amp with the Schiit Yggdrasil is just a delightful combo. I almost felt tears in my eye the first time I heard it. Well, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but the bass is just so well controlled in the Hegel amp. And for most of the test tracks, I preferred the Hegel combo, except for one track, If I Was Your Woman. And in that track, the Schiit Ragnarok's bass was actually quite wild. But I felt that in that song I wanted to cut loose, so I chose the Schiit amp. But I probably just want my amp to win something, just at least one song, and most other people would likely choose the Hegel amp over the Schiit Ragnarok. But more so than the bass control, the Hegel amp was really silent, and the sound engine 2 thing that the Hegel has is just really works. There's a distinct difference between the two, or rather there's a distinct silence between the two. And the instruments were really just popping out in the Hegel amp because of that silence, and it was like an inky black background that made the soundstage a bit deeper and each instrument's more fleshed out. Next, we're going to compare the DACs. So it's the Hegel amp and Schiit Yggdrasil versus the Hegel amp and onboard Hegel DAC. And this time the reverse is true. The Schiit Yggdrasil dominates the Hegel DAC. In the Hegel DAC, the vocals are more shouty or shoutier than the Yggdrasil, and there's less textures as well. In the Schiit Yggdrasil, the output is squeaky clean and it's just deadly silent. And also in the Schiit Yggdrasil, the instruments had more textural flavors and it's just oozing with microdynamics, and the bass is grippier as well, and it has a slightly more precise timing. What I like the most about the Hegel H190 is the pitch black silence, and it feels like it's almost zero distortion. The output is just squeaky clean and it doesn't sound thin at all. It's actually very fun and engaging. The bass control is top notch as well, and I definitely believe their claims that they can drive any speaker. And finally, it's an all-in-one, so we don't need separate components, just that one amp, DAC in one thing. You don't need the separate streamer DAC amp and all of the cables and power outlets you need for that. Just that thing. What I don't like about it is, well, it's ready for the digital future but doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. And for $4,000, I'm expecting those built in already. At least to complete the all-in-one thing, like the name Atom. And it also doesn't have a phono amp, so if you're gonna run turntables, you need to get a separate phono amp. But yeah, it might not affect other people. And it doesn't look like a $4,000 amp. I mean, if people pass by, I want them to say, hey, that's a $4,000 amp. Not, hey, that's a $500 amp. But who knows, maybe some people like it. But I don't. I actually prefer the looks of the Yggdrasil, the Schiit Ragnarok. But what I really hate about it is that what I hate about the Hegel H190 is that I've heard it with the Schiit Yggdrasil. And after spending $4,000 on the amp and the AC, I would want to spend another $2,400 for a new DAC for the Schiit Yggdrasil, or at least a DAC at that level. I mean, the Hegel DAC is actually quite fine, and it's actually much better than the Cambridge Audio CXN DAC, but I cannot unhear what I've already heard, and the Schiit Yggdrasil with the Hegel amp is just a whole different level. And of course, if once I have that 6,400 combination, I probably won't run $2,000 speakers in that. I probably would get maybe at least 5,000 or maybe even $10,000 speakers. So it's a very expensive upgrade path, but it's the audio game and I've been audio fooled. With the Hegel H190, cleanliness is next to godlike. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, just write them down below. See you in the next video.